In Atlanta, Georgia, Marcus Johnson's living room looked like a battlefield of balloons and streamers. He wrestled with a balloon pump that squeaked like an angry duck, while a half-finished banner on the wall only read, "Happy BIR." His cousin Tasha sat nearby, sipping sweet tea like she was front row at a comedy show. "Boy, this ain't decoration, this CrossFit," she teased, snapping photos for Instagram. Marcus groaned, imagining Auntie Dee's arched eyebrow of disapproval if things didn't look perfect. "Help me instead of narrating my downfall," he begged. Tasha grinned. "Nah, baby, my gift is laughter. Somebody gotta document your struggle for the family archives." Meanwhile, in Savannah, Grandma Ruth was in her kitchen, rolling dough for her famous peach cobbler with the precision of a general mapping out war plans. "Celebration without cobbler is like church without a choir," she declared. Her grandson Malik tried to sneak a spoonful of filling, only to get his knuckles smacked by her wooden spoon. "You better celebrate patience first," she scolded, pulling the pan closer. Malik sulked, but knew the cobbler would be the crown jewel of the night. Ruth hummed an old hymn as cinnamon filled the air, satisfied she was sending Atlanta the taste of tradition. In Chicago, Jamal and Keisha were loading folding chairs into their trunk. "Why do we always bring the chairs?" Jamal muttered, wrestling with a stubborn one. Keisha rolled her eyes. "Because your uncle runs parties like he's booking Madison Square Garden. Without us, half the family will be sitting on the porch railing." Jamal remembered last year's chaos when cousin Tyrone showed up with a goat. "Our family don't know normal," he sighed. Keisha laughed, and we wouldn't want it any other way. They clinked soda cans like champagne, resigned to their role as the logistics team. Back in Atlanta, Auntie Dee was at the beauty salon under the dryer, lamenting loudly. 70 years on this earth and not one flower, balloon, or phone call. My family got amnesia. Her stylist, Yolanda, smirked. Or maybe they planning something special. Dee snorted. "Special better, not me, no Walmart cake. I raised them better." The entire salon chuckled as Dee rehearsed dramatic speeches she'd deliver about being underappreciated. Little did she know, her family was transforming her house into the biggest party of the year. By evening, cousins rolled in from Chicago, Savannah, Detroit, and even Miami. Cars lined the street like a gospel concert parking lot, neighbors peeking out their windows in suspicion. Inside, the kitchen table groaned under fried chicken, ribs, mac and cheese, greens, cornbread, and Ruth's cobbler, transported with military precision. "If nobody gets the itis tonight, then we failed," Ruth announced. Malik's plate was already stacked higher than the Sears Tower. Marcus tried to swat him away. "Boy, the party ain't even started." Malik grinned, barbecue sauce on his chin. Celebration waits for no man. The living room turned into a dance floor the moment DJ smooth hit play on Frankie Beverly's Before I Let Go. The electric slide formed instantly, as if rehearsed in secret. Plates hit tables, shoes came off, and the house shook with stomps and claps. Malik tried to join but tripped, rolling like a bowling ball. "You dance like you fighting gravity." "Grandma," Ruth shouted. Malik bowed dramatically. Celebration is about effort, not perfection. The family roared with laughter, clapping him back into the dance circle. Cousin Ray from Detroit strutted in with his trumpet case, announcing, "The music has arrived." His wife muttered, "Lord, here we go." Ray blasted Happy Birthday, so loud the dog ran under the couch. "Ray," Aunt Carol shouted, "this ain't no marching band." But Ray puffed his chest. "Every celebration needs horns." Dee nearly fell over laughing when she finally arrived, wig tilting sideways as the family screamed, "Surprise!" She clutched her chest. "Lord, take me now, I thought y'all forgot." Then, unable to resist, she let Marcus twirl her onto the dance floor. The kitchen became battleground territory as Aunt Carol and Aunt Brenda fought for oven space. "My cornbread needs 350 for exactly 22 minutes, Carol declared. "Well, My casserole gone burn at anything less than 375, Brenda snapped. Malik hovered with his plate, hoping to snag something hot, but both aunts caught him. Put that plate down before I use it as a fan. Brenda barked. Malik slunk away, muttering, celebration ain't worth starvation. Everyone howled. Meanwhile, Shonda from Chicago unveiled her crown-shaped cupcakes, sparking a bragging contest that only ended when Dee taste-tested both casserole and cupcakes, declaring them equally blessed. Outside, the cousins turned the driveway into a carnival. They rapped on car roofs, tossed footballs dangerously close to windshields, and ran lemonade stands hustling their own family. $1 a cup, a kid shouted. Jamal frowned. Didn't we already buy drinks? The child shrugged. Inflation, Uncle. Meanwhile, Uncle set up a spades tournament, slamming cards so hard the folding table rattled. You can't play spades and be humble. Cousin Derek shouted after winning a hand. The crowd cheered like it was the NBA Finals. Aunties fanned themselves on the porch, laughing at the madness. Inside, the party hit another peak when Uncle Jerome plugged in his karaoke machine. Y'all ain't ready for Luther night, he bellowed before butchering never too much. The dog howled in sympathy, toddlers cried, and cousins collapsed in laughter. Dee waved her hand. Let the man sing. Luther might not be proud, but at least he entertained. Jerome twirled the mic cord like he was headlining Madison Square Garden. When the crowd begged him to stop, he belted even louder, drowning out the groans with sheer passion. Celebration, he insisted, needed soul, even if it was off-key. Dee, still catching her breath from dancing, plopped into her chair. 70 years, and I still outdance half of y'all, she bragged, fanning herself with a church program. Tasha leaned over, whispering, and your wig is still hanging on for dear life. The family burst into laughter as Dee adjusted it proudly. Baby, if this wig survives tonight, it can survive a hurricane. She took a cupcake from Shonda, humming with satisfaction after the first bite. This, she declared, is treatment fit for a queen. At the food table, people stacked plates higher than common sense. Ribs balanced on mac and cheese, collard greens dripped onto cornbread, and chicken wings toppled like dominoes. Malik returned with a plate so tall it looked like a leaning tower. If this falls, I'm suing, he announced. Aunt Brenda guarded her casserole like gold, warning cousins not to touch her corner. The kitchen echoed with laughter as Dee sampled everything, declaring each dish sent by the Lord. For a moment, food became both the comedy and the glue that held the night together. Outside, the kids invented their own chaos. They banged pots like drums, waved glow sticks, and started chanting, Dee, Dee, Seventieth, like it was a halftime show. Neighbors peeked out, half annoyed, half amused. One shouted, Y'all gone keep me up all night, to which a cousin replied, Come on over then. Even strangers couldn't resist, smiling as sparklers lit the yard. Dee peeked outside, shaking her head but grinning. That's my legacy, noise with a side of joy. Malik decided he needed to give a speech. He stood on a chair, barbecue sauce still glistening on his cheeks. Family, he bellowed. The meaning of celebration is simple. It means eating till your pants beg for mercy. The room howled with laughter, some choking on their drinks. Grandma Ruth threw a napkin at him. Boy, sit down before you shame us in front of the Lord. Dee, however, was laughing so hard she wiped tears from her eyes. He might be messy, she said, but he ain't wrong. Just as the laughter settled, Cousin Ray lifted his trumpet again. The crowd groaned, but Ray ignored them, puffing up his cheeks. This time he didn't blast nonsense. He began lift every voice and sing. Slowly, voices joined in, shaky at first, then stronger. The room hushed, and even the kids stopped running. Dee placed her hand over her heart, whispering, Now that's how you honor 70 years. The song swelled, imperfect but powerful, wrapping everyone in something bigger than food or music, pride. The mood softened after the song. People hugged tighter. Conversations grew deeper. Tasha caught Dee and Grandma Ruth sitting together, their hands clasped. "We've seen storms and sunshine," Ruth said. "But look what's still here, family." Dee nodded, smiling through tears. "Family and cobbler," she quipped, earning more laughter. It was clear to everyone that this night was more than balloons and music. It was testimony, living proof that joy was their inheritance. Out in the yard, the cousins launched what they called the wing toss championship, throwing leftover chicken bones into a bucket. Jamal sank a shot and yelled, "Three-pointer!" Keisha groaned, "That's nasty." But laughter drowned her out as Jamal strutted like an NBA star. Someone crowned him Chicken King, placing a greasy paper crown on his head. Dee peeked out, horrified yet laughing. "Lord, y'all turning my celebration into a chicken Olympics." It was gross. It was ridiculous. It was unforgettable. Inside, Uncle Jerome tried to reclaim the mic. "One more song," he begged. The crowd booed playfully. Jamal yanked the mic away and launched into a dramatic rendition of "My Girl," pointing at Keisha. The family clapped, swayed, and howled with laughter as Keisha hid her face. Dee slapped her knee. "This party turned into The Voice," she said. For once, the off-key singing didn't matter. It was joy disguised as music, and it filled the house to its rafters. By midnight, the house was hot and packed, so windows were thrown open. The smell of fried chicken and cobbler drifted down the street. A bold passerby knocked, asking, "Y'all got plates to go?" Instead of shooing him off, Malik piled a plate and handed it over. "Celebration means sharing," he declared. The stranger left grinning, and the family roared with laughter. Dee shook her head. "Only us, feeding strangers like they are kin." Grandma Ruth just smiled. "That's how blessings multiply." Fireworks erupted in the sky. No one confessed who brought them, but nobody complained. Kids squealed with sparklers, neighbors clapped from porches, and Dee gasped at the lights. "Y'all gone take me out with beauty," she exclaimed, clutching her chest. For a few minutes, everyone stood still, faces turned upward, bathed in color and glow. Dee whispered, "This is better than a Cadillac." Her wig, miraculously, stayed in place. The family cheered louder than the fireworks, united under laughter and light. When the fireworks died down, Dee tried to give a heartfelt speech. She tapped her red cup like a gavel. "Family," she began, "tonight has reminded me," but before she could finish, the toddlers started popping balloons like it was a competition. Pop, pop, pop. Dee glared at them. "As I was saying, celebration ain't about diamonds or Cadillacs. It's about showing up for each other. And y'all showed up." Her eyes glistened as the family clapped, though another balloon exploded right behind her. Dee rolled her eyes. "Lord, give me strength." Malik wasn't done performing. He grabbed the mic again. "It's roast time." The family cheered nervously. "First, Auntie Dee, happy birthday. But your wig has been fighting gravity all night." Dee howled with laughter, fanning herself. "Boy, don't get cut from the will." Malik pointed at Jerome. "Uncle, your karaoke almost killed the dog." The room erupted, uncles slapping their knees, cousins falling out of chairs. One by one, Malik roasted everyone, from Shonda's mystery cupcakes to Grandma Ruth's cobbler addiction. By the end, the family was laughing so hard they couldn't breathe. Storytelling followed the roast, as it always did. Aunt Brenda shared the infamous tale of Dee sneaking into a Prince concert in heels. "She climbed a fence like Spider-Man, y'all." The room howled, while Dee covered her face. "Why you bringing up old news?" she groaned, laughing anyway. Soon more stories flowed. Childhood mischief, reunion drama, old romances. Laughter blended with nostalgia, weaving history into the night. Malik, listening wide-eyed, realized the celebration wasn't just food and music. It was memory, passed down like treasure. Outside, the spades tournament reached fever pitch. Cousin Derek slammed down the winning card, leaping from his chair. Game, baby! His partner flexed like he just won the NBA Finals. The losers demanded a rematch, trash talk echoing down the block. Aunties shook their heads on the porch. These grown men hollering like teenagers. One muttered, though she was grinning. Even Dee peeked out the window, chuckling. Celebration brings out the fool in everybody. And in truth, that foolishness was half the fun. Back inside, the dance floor refused to quit. DJ Smooth slowed it down with old-school jams. Anita Baker, Luther, and Earth, Wind and Fire. Couples swayed, kids tried to mimic, and even Grandma Ruth let Uncle Jerome lead her in a slow spin. Dee watched with a smile. Celebration belongs to every age, she murmured, tapping her foot. Jamal stepped all over Keisha's toes, who laughed so loud half the room turned to watch. The clumsy romance made the night even sweeter. By now, the house looked like a storm had hit it. Cups stacked on counters, crumbs decorated the floor, and confetti clung to the ceiling fan. Dee didn't care. She sat in her chair with a paper crown cocked sideways, her blanket draped across her shoulders. This is wealth, she whispered. Not cars or jewels, this. Food, noise, laughter, love. She clutched her cup like it was a chalice, content to let the chaos stand as proof of joy. Grandma Ruth, though, wasn't about to let the mess go unnoticed. She started washing dishes at midnight, humming like it was Sunday morning. Marcus stumbled into the kitchen. Mama, sit down, you're supposed to rest. Ruth shook her head. Celebration is sweet, but cleanup is holy. Somebody gotta start. Marcus grabbed a towel, rolling his eyes but smiling. Every party, I swear it gets louder, he said. Ruth chuckled. That's how you know it's working. They clinked wet plates together like champagne glasses. Out on the porch, Malik was asleep in a chair, barbecue sauce still painted on his cheek, a half-eaten chicken leg dangling from his hand. Tasha snapped a photo, whispering, "This right here is the face of victory." She posted it in the family group chat, where emojis flooded in. Dee saw it and laughed so hard she nearly dropped her blanket. That boy ate half my birthday. The picture became legend, resurfacing at every reunion as proof of Malik's bottomless appetite. Uncle Jerome, still determined, crooned one last song at 3 a.m., End of the Road by Boys II Men. His voice cracked, his eyes glistened, and the family collapsed in hysterics. "Jerome!" Dee shouted, wiping tears. "You done gave me my funeral soundtrack." He grinned proudly. "Then my work here is done." It was absurd, embarrassing, and perfect. No one could imagine the night ending any other way. As silence finally settled, Dee sat alone, wrapped in her blanket. The echoes of laughter, music, and clattering plates still vibrated in the air. She thought back over her 70 years, the storms, the sunshine, the family who made it through both. She smiled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "This is wealth," she whispered again. "This is why we celebrate." For Dee, the mess left behind wasn't a burden. It was evidence that love had lived in her house that night. The next morning, sunlight crept across the yard, bouncing off the sea of empty cups and confetti that had survived the night. Marcus shuffled through the living room, dragging a trash bag, shaking his head at the carnage. "Looks like the circus came through here," he muttered. Tasha, still in her bonnet, sipped coffee from a red cup. "Correction, it was the circus and you were the ringmaster." Marcus smirked despite his exhaustion. "Worth it," he said softly, remembering Dee's face when she walked in. Dee wandered out of her room, wrapped in a robe, slippers shuffling against the floor. She paused in the kitchen, surveying crumbs and half-empty pans. Confetti on my ceiling fan, lipstick on my bathroom mirror, plates under the couch, she laughed to herself. If that ain't proof of love, I don't know what is. She picked up the last sliver of cobbler, popped it into her mouth, and closed her eyes. "Perfect," she whispered, satisfied that her birthday had left a delicious trail behind. Grandma Ruth was already back at the sink, humming while scrubbing pans. "Mama, you ain't tired?" Marcus asked groggy. Ruth chuckled. "Tired? Baby, joy gives you energy. Besides, these dishes ain't gone wash themselves." Marcus grabbed a towel, joining her again. "Every time I think our family can't get louder, they prove me wrong," he said. Ruth winked. "And that's the beauty of it. The celebration isn't supposed to be quiet." Outside on the porch, Malik was still asleep in a lawn chair, his infamous chicken leg clutched like a trophy. Cousins tiptoed past him, snapping photos, trying not to wake him. Tasha shook her head, whispering, "That boy gone be the meme of the year." Sure enough, the family group chat was buzzing with captions. "The real Chicken King fell in love with a drumstick and celebration face 2025. Dee peeked outside, cackling so hard her wig nearly tilted again. Uncle Jerome, however, wasn't done. At 10 a.m., while most were still dozing, he burst into the kitchen with his karaoke mic. "Ladies and gentlemen, one more for the road," he declared, before launching into End of the Road again, this time even more dramatic. The family groaned, throwing napkins at him, but he finished with a bow. "This one's for Dee," he cried. Dee laughed so hard she wiped tears from her eyes. "Jerome, you turned my birthday into a Vegas residency." Phone calls poured in all morning. Neighbors called to joke about the noise. Church friends scolded Dee for dancing too much, and strangers from TikTok dubbed her Auntie Goals. Dee sipped her coffee proudly. 70 and trending, she said, scrolling through her dance video that already had thousands of likes. Tasha teased, "Don't let fame go to your head." Dee smirked. "Baby, fame is late. I have been fabulous for decades." When the family regrouped to tackle cleanup, Dee made a bold announcement. "Next year, we are taking this to Savannah, by the water. I want fireworks, a gospel choir, and maybe a marching band." The room erupted in groans. Malik, still groggy, mumbled, "Lord, we gonna need a bank loan." Grandma Ruth wagged her spoon. "Child, joy doesn't need a budget, just people willing to show up." Everyone laughed, nodding, because they knew she was right. Later, Marcus stacked folding chairs in the shed, reflecting on the madness. He realized balloons, cobbler, or even trumpet solos weren't the point. Celebrations were about survival, finding joy even when life was heavy, creating memories loud enough to drown sorrow. "This," he whispered to himself, "is why we celebrate, to remember who we are." The thought made the cleanup feel lighter, every crumb a reminder of laughter that had echoed through the walls. That evening, as the house finally quieted, Dee sat on the porch in her favorite chair. The yard was still littered with sparkler sticks and popped balloons, but the air felt peaceful. She closed her eyes, hearing the echoes, the stomp of the electric slide, Jerome's wild karaoke, Malik's roast, Ruth's cobbler hymns. She smiled, feeling the warmth of 70 years settle like a crown on her head. "Here's to 70 more," she whispered. At that moment, Dee knew the truth. Celebration wasn't about perfection. It was about chaos, music, too much food, tilted wigs, and voices raised in laughter. It was about a family showing up, no matter how messy, no matter how loud. As the Georgia sun dipped behind the trees, Dee pulled her blanket tighter, smiling. "So long as there's love," she whispered, "there will always be reason to celebrate." As the sun set on the second evening, leftovers filled every container in the fridge. Malik hovered like a hawk, asking, "Can I have the cobbler pan?" Grandma Ruth smacked his hand again. "Boy, let folks breathe before you eat us out of house and home." Laughter rippled through the kitchen as Ruth guarded her dessert like treasure. Dee sipped sweet tea, smiling. If Malik ain't begging, then something's wrong with the world. Dee scrolled her phone again, still shocked by her new internet fame. Videos of her two-step had gone viral. Comments poured in. "Andy got moved 70 where?" And protect her at all costs. She shook her head, laughing. I danced one time and now I'm Beyoncé. Tasha grinned. No, Auntie, you trending harder than Beyoncé right now. Dee raised her chin proudly. As it should be. 43. Jamal and Keisha sat on the porch, tired but content. Every year I say I'm not doing this again, Jamal muttered, rubbing his sore back. Keisha laughed. And every year you load the chairs anyway. They looked at Dee and sighed, laughing with Ruth, wig pinned firmly in place, and smiled. It's worth it, Keisha said softly. Jamal nodded. Always worth it. Inside, cousins replayed the funniest moments on their phones. Malik asleep with his chicken leg, Jerome's cracked version of End of the Road, Rain nearly blowing the roof off with his trumpet. Each replay brought fresh waves of laughter, even as they cleaned crumbs off the counters. We should sell tickets next time, one cousin joked. Folks would pay good money for this show. Dee wagged her finger. Ah, family joy is free. Grandma Ruth settled into her chair at last, drying her hands. You know, she said, looking around, I used to think celebration was just food and music, but really it's medicine. It heals what we don't even talk about. The room went quiet, her words sinking in. Dee nodded slowly. You right, Mama. That's why I wanted big, loud, messy. Because joy gotta drown out sorrow. Heads nodded around the room. And suddenly the mess didn't matter, it was holy. As evening deepened, Dee gathered everyone one last time. I want y'all to remember this night, she said, her voice firm but tender. Remember the laughter, the food, the dancing. But most of all, remember that family is wealth. Don't ever forget it. She wiped her eyes, smiling through her tears. The family clapped, some whistled, and Malik shouted, Speech better than the cobbler! Everyone groaned and laughed again, the perfect mix of reverence and ridiculousness. Later, the cousins sprawled on couches and floors, swapping playlists and teasing each other about dance moves. Malik argued he was the MVP of the night for his roast, while Tasha claimed the title for capturing the funniest videos. No, Dee interrupted, pointing at herself. The MVP is me, because without me, there'd be no reason to party. Everyone laughed, conceding she had a point. Out on the porch, Jamal lit one last sparkler, holding it high against the night sky. To Auntie Dee, he toasted. Family members joined him, lifting cups, plates, even chicken wings. Dee stepped outside, eyes glistening at the sight. To 70 years, she echoed. The sparkler fizzled, but the glow lingered in their faces, proof that moments like these left marks brighter than fireworks. As the night finally grew still, Dee pulled her blanket tighter, rocking gently in her porch chair. The house behind her smelled of grease, sugar, and love. She whispered to herself, they showed up. Lord knows they showed up. Her chest swelled with gratitude. Celebration wasn't just about marking years. It was about reminding yourself you were never alone. Dee tilted her head back to the stars. That's the real gift. With the Georgian night humming softly around her, Dee closed her eyes, replaying the chaos, the laughter, the food, the off-key songs. She smiled, her heart full. So long as there's family, food, and love, she whispered, there will always be reason to celebrate. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by echoes of joy, Auntie Dee's 70th birthday became legend. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Thank you for watching.